Years and years ago, I read a piece by Ira Glass, the This American Life NPR geezer. This is one of his famous takeaway things where it's like the older you get, the better your taste gets. And then that creates a barrier for you to create because your own creations come up against your impeccable taste that you've amassed. And you continue to amass with each passing week. And so I think that's a problem for people. And you could lump this into the whole kind of resistance or writer's block, feeling creatively unsatisfied or overwhelmed, that whole kind of realm. Because I feel like there is you have to kind of like have a dual existence if you want to be a creative person. You have to be a a, a consumer and then also a creator, someone who's gonna like breathe in but then also breathe out. And I definitely feel like you need to be careful with what you engage with, especially nowadays, in respect to the amount of criticism that you can find of every single different type of media on every scale, essentially. When I say criticism, I don't mean kind of like take down pieces, just feedback, reviews. YouTube is amazing for when you watch a movie that you enjoy, going straight to YouTube and finding kind of like film analysis stuff. And recently I watched the Gaspar Noé movie Climax, and some geezer, I think he's from Canada, I don't recall the YouTuber's name or channel name, but anyway, he did a breakdown piece of Climax. I found it entertaining, and he's very much kind of like in the his style is to focus on a lot of the cinematography and the visual aspect as opposed to the writing or the storytelling. And so yeah, that was cool to get like that fresh perspective. But then I watched another one of his review videos where it was from he was analyzing that Korean movie from last year, Decision to Leave, and in a similar way, he was talking about the framing and the color choices and the palette used to differentiate the characters and all that shit. Things that I'm kind of like vaguely aware of, but not really focused on. And I kind of caught myself a little bit being like, holy fuck, like this is an area in which you're completely, not completely, but largely ignorant about. And you have a lot of catching up to do. And rather than seeing that as kind of like, yeah, this is something cool that I find intriguing, but I don't know about it yet. I could learn about it. It definitely it took an evil little uh direction in my mind where the devil on my shoulder was like, "You little fuckhead. You've got no idea about this shit, do you?" And feeling like just because I'm learning something new, that's going to expose some incompetency in my own work across different mediums. It's wacky, but I feel like you can, if you find something that's really good and then you find analysis that's really good, it can, yeah, make you feel like a fraud, imposter syndrome, and then like slow your momentum, or kind of make you second guess yourself about what you're doing with your own shit. So I feel like first and foremost, you should kind of like limit what you see to a certain degree. If you really, really like something, I fluctuate. Sometimes I go through like you have like my friend describes it as his theme song. You know when you've got your favorite tune at the moment and you play it constantly. And I never really thought of that as a theme song, but it kind of is. It's something where you discover this new song and you're like, fucking hell, this is good. First time you hear it, you play it straight back. And then yeah, it just becomes your kind of like little mini anthem that you live with until you find a new hot uh tune that hits you in the right spot. So I feel like I sometimes do that, but I also certain things where I have a compulsion to want to go back and like rewatch it immediately or re-listen to it immediately. I'm like, just hold up on that. Because if you do that, then you're just gonna exacerbate the sensations of imposter syndrome or kind of like your own stuff not stacking up. Because to create something amazing, you kind of need to go fucking, in my opinion, I feel like the way it works is that you kind of have to fucking throw yourself into it, like commit, commit to the bit, bitch. You can't have one foot in, one foot out. You can't be like a vomit Christian. You got to fucking, here we go, let's do this. And um, if your taste keeps getting better and better, you want to try and find holes in other bits of work, and you want to be critical. But I feel like there's a way in which where you can be critical with no solution. You can be like, this movie fucking sucked. This second act was a piece of shit. And then you don't take like the next step to be like, okay, if it were up to me, or if I've got a similar section in my book or my movie, here's what I would do instead. Like there's like a, with every kind of mistake someone else does, it's kind of like an opportunity for you to problem solve and be like, hypothetically, here's how I would have made it better, and then understanding the ramifications of that change. And yeah, that, and therein lies kind of like the ongoing process with your own work is how accurate is the gauge of your piece of work. I know in the past where I've had to really kind of fake enthusiasm to get through certain sections of a piece of writing to be like, this feels like a mistake, but I need to just keep putting one word after the other to get through this. And then I'm going to have some perspective later. And you do have perspective later. You're like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was, or it could be as bad as you thought it was, but there's a sense of kind of like momentum and not overthinking it too much on the way through. But in the same breath, you kind of need to know how things are stacking up as well. You can't you can't just be like, yeah, this is all great. I don't know. I like to think of the if there's a if there's a band you really like, the Strokes or the fucking Beatles or something, whoever it is, you listen to the early work and there's still like the magic in there, even though the recording equipment wasn't at the level or they couldn't afford good guitars yet, whatever it is, there's a scrappiness to it, but the charm of it, the kind of like the magic is still there somehow. So you gotta, I feel like that's the trick, is kind of like being a being a fucking creative, being a someone who's kind of like breathing in other bits of art and then breathing out your own with all your influences and experiences mixed in, is how accurate is your gauge of magic in other bits of work and your own. Because that's the shit we care about. We overlook little technical issues here or there, but if the kind of magic is there, we'll go along with it. So that's the thing you got to keep tabs on, and the other stuff is fixable, in my opinion. This is advice no one asked for, talking to myself in public. I hope you dug it, and catch you on the next one. Bye.